guys, it's JD, the Geekery Podcast. I'm back with my second video review, and I have no guarantees that this is going to be any better. I do think maybe I figured out how to make the video clearer when I showcase the figure, but we're going to try this. Again, I don't have a script, because what's the point? Nobody's actually going to listen to anything I'm saying anyways. Second video review, I'm going to do another G.I. Joe figure subscription service entry. This one is Topside. Again, like my last review, I'm not going to talk about the articulation. If you're watching this, you've played with the new G.I. Joes, you know how they move, so I'm going to go right into the character. Topside is an obscure Joe from 1990. He had one figure in the vintage line, and until this subscription service, he never got a second version. I don't think he really ever needed one. When he was announced as part of the figure subscription service, he was one of the ones I was not excited about. I didn't really see the point. I didn't think Topside needed an update. For being a Navy security guy, I didn't have a lot of use for him. I'm not a vehicle guy. I really only do figures. So I didn't much care if we ever got a new Topside, because I had the original, but I never really knew what to do with him. My dad was in the Army, so I knew a lot about Army stuff, nothing about Navy stuff. And I'd ask my dad things about the Navy, even when I was a kid, and he would say, the Navy's there, they fulfill their purpose, but I don't know anything about the Navy. Actually, he did, but nothing that was worth explaining, I guess, because I actually asked him what they do on the ships, and he said, having never been on a Navy ship, he didn't know exactly. The Deke G.I. Joe cartoon did nothing to explain anything, because there wasn't a lot of military action in that. Topside was just another character on that show that didn't have a whole lot of personality. As far as I know, he was never used in Larry Hammond's G.I. Joe comic book. I don't believe he ever was. I don't believe he even showed up with FaceTime without even being referred to as a code name. I think he was just one of the many later Joes that just never got the spotlight, never got any time. And when he was announced as one of the subscription figures, my thoughts were honestly, why? Because I wasn't aware that there was any sort of demand for the character, and I wasn't particularly excited. Well, then I got the figure in the mail, and to be completely honest, I think he's one of the, if not the unsung hero of the subscription service. For a character that I didn't think ever needed a second version, I was so pleasantly surprised by this figure. His mold was based on the second 25th anniversary shipwreck figure, the one that came in the 5-pack, which is not a mold that I was crazy about, for reasons I can't explain now. Back then, I thought that the first 25th version of Shipwreck, the real spindly one, was the superior sculpt. And so the second 5-pack version just seemed redundant to me. He was a little beefier and didn't really fit the image of Shipwreck that I had. So I was okay with them reusing that body for Topside, figuring it wasn't a character that I needed on a body, or made of a recipe that I didn't particularly have any sort of affection or real feelings towards. But like I said, I got the figure in my hand. My opinion completely and totally changed. Suddenly, I had the need to add this character into the NFC verse. He was, I hadn't remembered that originally his MOS on this file card was Navy Assault Seaman. When really his file card didn't explain what that actually meant. A lot of people sort of assumed in 1990 that he was supposed to be a replacement for Shipwreck, but I don't think he was. I don't think he was supposed to be a sailor. I mean, obviously he's going to be assigned to the ships, but I think he was always meant to be more along the lines of the security, peacekeeping type thing. I don't think the day-to-day operation of the boat or the ship was what his intended purpose was. And the club, when he re-rolled his file card, called him Navy Security. And honestly, I think that was awesome. It hadn't occurred to me before then that while the Joes had Law and Order, who were military police, i.e., I think Law was supposed to be Army, and then later we got Surefire, which is the Army Criminal Investigation Division. Never really had an equivalent for the Navy in the Joe line, and that's actually how I'm going to use him. The last couple of months, I've been watching a lot of NCIS, and, you know, I really like that idea. That there would be a branch of law enforcement within the Navy that would take care of investigations and criminal apprehension. And I think that's actually how I'm going to use Topside. Again, I don't have any vehicles, not really. I don't have any boats for pilot to Topside, for Topside to pilot, nor do I have any vehicles for him to just stand around looking good on, because I don't have any displays set up due to lack of space. And I really like this Topside figure so much that I have to give him a roll. So, yeah, I think I'm going to make him an NCIS type agent. He may not have his own unit. In fact, I'm thinking about coming up with a G.I. Joe, like a law enforcement team. Let Surefire be there. Let Bulletproof, who's my favorite Joe ever, he's a U.S. Marshal, be a part of it. And have Topside. And then Navy Criminal Investigation Division type role. So here's the figure. I'm gonna attempt this Zoom thing, but I make no guarantees about how it's gonna work. Again, motion sickness, beware. Hey, there's Topside. Again, using parts from a Shipwreck figure that I really didn't think was all that great then. But to be honest, I'm glad that I had no affection for it at Shipwreck, because I really think the parts work better for Topside. And I still can't get this thing to come in clearly. So, anyways, what you can't see here is, in any sort of detail at all, is one of, well, the most nicely sculpted heads that Hasbro, or the club, whoever responsible, actually did. It's super realistic. It's got the flat top hair that Topside had in 1990. But it also has, it's actually got his eyes painted, looking human, unlike the original Topside, who had his eyes painted yellow, the same as his eyebrows and his hair. It was creepy then, and I'm glad that, obviously, times have changed. This is the 21st century. I'm really glad that they've given him a more realistic face. The Life Preserver is from the 25th anniversary comic pack of Shipwreck, which I thought looked kind of old-fashioned until I come to realize that even in the modern Navy, they actually do something still similar. And, well, my camera's not doing this thing justice. Topside has a lot of bulk. And, yeah, the arms are a little skinny, but overall, his biceps are beefy. The rest of him is well proportioned, and this dynamite face color. Really wish I could capture this camera, but I can. To be honest, for a character that I wasn't excited about getting an update for, boy, I'm glad we did. So far, I've gotten, the first 4 shipments from the subscription service, and there's been some great ones. You know, I already showcased Surefire, but I think Topside might be my favorite. I mean, Big Boa is probably the best, obviously, and at some point I'll do a review of him. But the Inferno for that character is still raging. When it's cooled off a little bit, and people have sort of moved on, I'll probably do Big Boa. While he might be the best, I think Topside is my favorite. Not quite sure what else to say, other than if you didn't subscribe, this character is probably not too hard to get for a reasonable price. But it's a character that when I subscribed, this is not one that I was subscribing to get, but boy, I'm glad I did. So, yep, that is my review of Topside, and this one came out a little better than the last one. I'll be back fairly soon with another figure subscription review, I think. Peace out. Check out the Geekery podcast at Buzzsprout. You can also hear us on iTunes and Stitcher, and the YouTube page.